Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live this morning. And nice to have you on with us on a Q&A. And let's see here. We got lots of questions. So maybe we get through all of them this morning. I don't know. Okay, so as you get your notifications, how are you? Andrea, right at the top, Niagara Falls. And let's see, who's coming up? Mike, no surprise. And from Norland, and Janice from Brampton. Good morning. Lynn from Sprucedale, and Rosalinda right at the top with Niagara Falls. Well, Bonnie, how are you? Karen, Peterborough, Nativity, how are you? Rosa, Morial, Carol, West Virginia, Kevin, Oshawa, hi Kev, Fran, Orangeville, good morning. Nick from our stop. Grace, Newfoundland. Babita, how are you? Dave from Muskoka. Laurie, River Valley. Judy, New Brunswick, good morning. Joanne from Berks Falls. Leslie, Thunder Bay, good morning. Karen, how are you? And Mara, Ottawa. We love having you guys on. Thank you. Nellie, saying good morning to everyone. And Darlene, how are you from Saskatchewan? Bunny. And Melika, and Maureen, Penticton, British Columbia, good morning. Linda, St. Jude, Quebec. Rose, Lighthouse Cove. Debbie, British Columbia. Phyllis, Rhoda, Labrador. David, Ridgeway. Sandy, Vancouver, Washington. Sandy from Fergus Falls, Minnesota. Imagine that. 2 Sandys in a row. Kristen, Yalau. Ornelia. Leela, how are you? And Brahim. I don't know what happened. Marilyn, B-E-I. Lorraine. Like it ain't the show is can't go on, Brahim, without you. Denise, how are you? Sunny today, isn't it? Stacy, well, today it is here. Yesterday, rain. From Freedom, Alberta, who was that? Donna, Belleward. And Kathy, good morning. Okay, let's get going, guys. Got a lot of questions to get. Yvonne, how are you from Petawawa? What would Dr. Martin do if he was diagnosed with Graves? Okay, it's a good question. Now, you've got 2 autoimmune thyroid conditions, okay? Hashimoto's, hypothyroid, autoimmune. Graves, hyperthyroid, autoimmune. But here's me. I always go, whether it's Graves, whether it's Hashimoto's, I always go to the origin of that, and I believe because it's autoimmune, it's leaky gut, leaky thyroid, okay? Originally, my experience has been leaky gut leads down the road to autoimmune, different ones. The thyroid, it's a complicated organ. Like when usually you have Graves, they're recommending they either remove the thyroid or kill it by radiation, right? And or radioactive dye or whatever. Anyway, all I'm saying is when Teresa, if you got the diagnosis of Graves, first thing that I would do is the reset. Fix leaky gut. Stop the leaky gut probiotics, And no, like, this is where you get really restrictive in a diet, I believe. Like, no gluten, no, like, not that I ever think that's the greatest thing since sliced bread, excuse the pun, but anything at all that would irritate and the gut, no sugar, lay off the sugar. Again, feeding fungus, you don't want that. Clean up the diet. Depending on some of the symptoms, I would get, like, you got so many strings attached to the thyroid. So I used to look at, okay, so the diet, that's your pancreas, the gut, your adrenals, get cortisol under control, estrogen, progesterone balanced. All of that will help you. So that's what I would do. Okay? Now, I wouldn't be worried so much about estrogen and progesterone as a man, but grave disease is much more common in women than it is in men. Any thyroid almost is, because the thyroid has a lot of strings attached. Teresa, thank you. Rebecca, I had recent blood work done and my B12 was high and my vitamin D was high. Should I be concerned? No, I wouldn't be concerned. Look, guys, doctors get concerned because I hate to use this phrase, they don't know what they're talking about. Now, okay, your vitamin D being high, look, just stop taking a supplement. Get your vitamin D from the sun. And you might start supplementing again in the fall, okay? Now, there's a lot of reasons that people get high levels of vitamin D. It's not from usually taking vitamin D. It's usually because they're taking other medications or they have some kind of condition going on that elevates their vitamin D. But I'm not worried about that. Like, nobody dies from having too much vitamin D. Nobody. And, they'll talk about, vitamin D, you could get kidney stones and all that. I guess you could, but I rarely ever saw that. And it's fake news almost. B12, having high B12, better to be high than low. But again, if you're at 1300 or whatever, then just get your B12 from eating steak. You can stop supplementing if you are. Okay, Rebecca, but no, I'm not concerned. That do not concern me. I've been looking at vitamin D and B12 numbers for 50 years. Those numbers don't concern me. Liette had to use Senokot because she had IBS. And, okay, should I be fasting? You're doing everything I want you to do, Liette. Should I be fasting? Well, look, here's the way I used to do with IBS or whatever. I said, you got a sunburn in your gut. Like, if it's really irritated, really, really limit your food intake till it settles down. I don't know how many people that I just had on a broth. Make yourself a broth and live on that for a few days or even a week until your gut settles down. Liette, like, if it's really irritated, fasting, just, make sure you're drinking your water and getting your electrolytes. That's why broth is so good. And it really settles the gut down, till the irritation is really gone, okay? And lay off the fiber, whatever you do, okay? And Senokot, like, it's probably a better one because it's a natural. It's not, it's more of a natural product. Comes from a plant. Thanks, Leah. Claude, how would you treat a sport-related concussion from hockey over a year that has been lingering? Yeah, Claude, I worked with concussions a lot in my clinic, a lot, okay? One of the best things you can do is high DHA. I've proven that to hundreds and hundreds of concussion patients. High DHA, 6 capsules a day for a month, especially if that's been lingering, Claude, okay? I find the DHA the best for concussion. You get, if someone has a concussion, and I found out about it real quick. I had them on high DHA and a high dose of it right away. What a difference it made. Okay, thanks, Claude. Paula, how would I treat ITP? Okay, immune thrombo. How do you say that now? Thrombo. Anyway, it's platelets. You got low platelets. Purpura is when you get a rash with it. And it's autoimmune again. So I always, Paula, start in the gut. But autoimmune, diet, low carb, no sugar. Don't feed the bears. There's always a fungal, yeast, parasite, connotation to that. I start with leaky gut, probiotic. Don't feed the bears. So diet. And in terms of the platelets, well, obviously you have low platelets. I would often put those type of patients on our multi-nutrient, used to be called Blood Boost. Just found it really helped with building up blood and blood factors like platelets. But, you have an autoimmune disorder. So nothing's quick, but I always use, you see in my office what I did is I look for deficiencies. Are you deficient in B12? Are you deficient in vitamin D? Are you deficient in magnesium? Okay? I used to check all that, make sure that was good, and often it wasn't. Okay? So those are the type of things. Kathy, I take your probiotics. Smart girl. What specific foods would help feed the good bacteria? Steak. We did that this week, didn't we? Didn't we do that this week? We talked about steak as being a tremendous prebiotic. Okay? Why is that? Because friendly bacteria are looking for nutrients. The more nutrient dense the food, the better it is. And by the way, another prebiotic is coffee. Coffee. Who knew that your bacteria was like you? It loves coffee, right? Anybody here doesn't like coffee? I know there's a few of you. I feel sorry for you. Okay? The best food in the world for your friendly bacteria is a steak. Eggs are there. Cheese is there. Steak the best. Okay. Thanks for the question, Kathy. And you're doing the right thing by taking a broad spectrum probiotic. Deborah, how do you fix moderate GERD and how can it be prevented? Well, let me just say this, Deb. how did anybody ever get GERD? They don't have enough acidity. Then their body overcompensates. Their proton pumps start in the stomach, start to produce more acidity, goes up the esophagus, get GERDs. How do you prevent it? Well, the best thing is to start with food. Lay off the sugar. Why? Because when you are a carboholic, those are the people that get GERDs more than any other. Because your body and your stomach especially was designed to eat meat. When you don't eat enough of it, and people are carboholics, that's why we see so much trouble with GERDs today, so much trouble acid reflux, so much trouble silent reflux. People got major stomach problems, but it starts because they're eating too many carbohydrates. Your body wasn't designed for that. Your stomach was designed like a lion's, even more than a lion's, to be very acidic. If your stomach is very acidic, your proton pumps don't have to make you more acidic. It's when that pH starts to go up. So, coming back to your questions, probiotics, digestive enzymes. Our digestive enzymes are the best in the world. I believe that. Why? We designed them. It's not only that, it's the broad spectrum digestive enzyme. What do I mean by that? How many different proteases they have. How many different enzymes are in there. Protease, different protease enzymes to break down the protein. Lipase to break down the fat. You need that, okay? You need protein broken down. You need your fat broken down. You need your carbs broken down. You need a broad spectrum digestive enzyme, okay? That's what I would do. Okay. Thanks, Deb. And amylase, by the way, is for the carbs. Stacy has IT band syndrome. No fun. Been going on for a while. Okay. You're in good shape. Other than that, okay. And taking a progesterone patch. Okay. I don't particularly like that, but anyway. I've been dealing with tendonitis for over 8 weeks. And you've done everything. Acupuncture, massage, stretching, exercise. It doesn't seem to help. Well, don't give up, first of all, Stacy, because those type of injuries can last a long time. Okay? And you're doing everything I would have you do. You're doing everything I would have you do. I'd continue with the therapy for sure. And don't give up hope. You're eating an anti-inflammatory diet. Yeah, lay off the carbs as much as you can, Stacy. You're doing everything, Stacy. I don't know what else to tell you to do. Maybe up your curcumin a little bit. But I like what you're doing. Krista, I have all the symptoms of high cortisol. Okay. I've met 1,000 patients like you or more, Krista. But I work the graveyard shift. Okay, well. Always hard, difficult. I could use some help. Well, listen, I would have you on the cortisol formula for sure. I don't know if you're doing that at all, Krista. You should be on that, especially if you're working graveyard shift and you have all the symptoms of high cortisol. And remember, cortisol and insulin go together, right? They're two hormones that want you dead. That's why I'm always big on the diet too. It's not just the cortisol formula. And by the way, if you have low cortisol, you're still out of balance. That's why the cortisol formula, whether it's high or whether it's low, if you got the symptoms of cortisol symptoms, exhausted, anxious, brain fog, belly fat, all of the above, sleep disturbances, you can be high cortisol or you can be low cortisol. You're not balanced. That's what that means. Okay? So, Krista, diet. Look, you're on the graveyard shift. Obviously, you have no choice. So you gotta do the best you can under those circumstances. Really emphasize, Krista, sleep when you can sleep during the day. Like, I know your circadian rhythm is thrown off, but protect yourself now. You got no choice but to work that shift. Hey, nurses, doctors, whatever, do everything else. Make sure your B12 is optimized. Make sure your vitamin D is optimized. Okay? Make sure you don't have leaky gut. And protect all of those things. I would be on high DHA. And the reason I say that is because, again, for brain. Your brain detoxes when you're sleeping. And your body will adjust. Okay? It's always more difficult when you're on the graveyard shift. So protect yourself, Krista. Evelyn, what do I think of freeze-dried foods like veggies and fruit? I got no problem with that. Usually when they're freeze-dried is when they got the, they pick them right at the, when they're completely ripe. That's when you get your most vitamins out of them. So I got no problem with that at all, Evelyn. You can put those frozen berries in Dr. Martin's Perfect Cream smoothie. Not a milkshake, a cream shake. Okay? Okay, that was Evelyn. Victoria, I understand. I understand fatty liver is not the same as liver disease, hepatitis. How to heal up autoimmune hepatitis liver disease? Where to start after the diagnosis? Well, again, you're coming back to autoimmune. The liver and the gut are so much connected. Okay? And the hepatitis, start with the gut. And keep your liver empty. Remember, what's going to fill up your liver is sugar. It'll fill it up with fat. So you want to keep that liver empty. Eggs, meat, and cheese will keep your liver empty. And okay, so autoimmune. And when you don't feed the bears, when you don't feed the leaky gut with any kind of sugar, whatever, you're really, really helping your friendly bacteria win the war down there. Sylvia, I have Parkinson's. Would Dr. Martin believes that vitamin B2 will help? Not really. I'm not big on, look, I'm big on B vitamins, okay, guys? I am. I'm just not that big on supplementing except for B12. I'm really big on you eating your B complex. I find that to be the best. You can take B vitamins, I got no problem with it, but the best thing to do with a B complex is to eat it. Now, if you got Parkinson's, much more important that you keep stuff out of your brain. With Parkinson's, usually what they found, heavy mercury, sometimes lead, major fungal infection, started in the gut, went to the brain, probiotics. You might look at our multi-nutrient to get all your B vitamins if you can't eat enough steak. But you want to do a detox. You might look at chelation therapy, Sylvia, okay? And chelation is EDTA, and that sort of, helps to clear out the heavy metal, okay? I used to do it in my office all the time. Sylvia, okay? Yeah. Okay. Linda, what does Dr. Martin say about extracorporeal blood oxygenation and ozonation? Well, I shouldn't say that. I used to do ozone therapy a little bit. I got no problem with it. I mean, usually when they do the blood oxygenation, it's, if you, is sometimes when the lungs ain't working properly and the heart's not working properly, they will recommend that therapy. I got no problem with it. It gives more oxygen, filters the blood. Okay, I have a friend who had this done, and they say a lot of thickness was collected during the process. A lot of thickness. When they were cleaning out the blood, maybe garbage, Linda. But I got no problem with that therapy. Okay? Like I said, I used to do a little bit of ozone therapy in my day. Anna, well, the reset, EMC, diet over time, make your body produce its own enzymes again. Well, once destroyed, do we need supplement? Look, Anna, it's not that you don't have any enzymes, or you might not be talking about you. It's just that as we age, you don't produce as many. It's not that you don't have any. It's not that people don't produce lipase or amylase or protease. It's if you have less of them as you age. A lot of times supplementing really makes a difference. I highly recommend it, by the way. I highly recommend in this day and age to use digestive enzymes. Okay, I really do. I'm big on it. I take digestive enzymes every day. Okay? And I like our formula because of its broad spectrum in terms of the amount of protease and the different proteases we use, the different lipases that we use, and the different amylases that we use. Okay? Good question. Thank you. A lot of people need supplements after a certain age. There's no doubt in my mind. Lise, if I take a multi-nutrient, do I need to take other vitamins? Well, it depends, Lise. Okay, it depends. If you can get me your B12, if I knew your B12 numbers, I would tell you whether you need to take B12. Like there's B12 in the multi-nutrient, but not enough. It's not, I like the sublingual methylcobalamin B12, okay? If you need that, and the majority of the population do need that, B12. Vitamin D, well, you're not getting enough with multi-nutrient. And again, if I had your vitamin D numbers, you can actually measure that, okay? So, But the multi-nutrient, I use that to build people up. Usually they were low blood, exhausted, borderline anemic. I had them on that multi-nutrient, okay? And to build them up, build up their blood levels, and really made a difference with them. It's not meant to, like, again, I'm very specific when it comes to especially B12 and vitamin D, okay? With K2, by the way. Andrew is asking, are there any risk factors for angiomyolipoma, which is, where do you have it? On the kidneys? Because that's usually where you get that, Andrew. Is there any, what's the risk factors to get that? I never even thought of that. I've seen it before. Risk factors. It's usually benign, right? They're benign. I don't know if there's any specific risk factors. Again, I'm trying to think if I saw deficiencies with that. Not so much that I can remember. I don't know. That's a good question, Andrew. I have to think about it, and I can't think of any risk factors. Look, kidneys, if you get a lipoma on a kidney, it's benign. I'm big on kidney function, you know that. Cut out the sugar, drink the water, and don't live on plants. Plants you can, the plant kingdom's all right, but don't live on it because it's very hard on your kidneys. All the oxalates there and that. I'm talking more kidney function than actually a lipoma there, but at the end of the day, if anything, Andrew, that's what I'd be sort of thinking of. Okay, wait, we only got 2 more. Let's get them done. Doris, my friend, has a constant cough. Okay, so it goes away, comes back. What can be causing this? Usually, constant cough. Look to the gut or sinuses. Postnasal, drip, or silent acid reflux. Coming from up, the pepsin, okay, one of the enzymes, can get caught in your throat, and it affects the vocal cords. It can give you a phlegm, a constant coughing, coming from down or coming from up. Postnasal drip, okay, going downwards, coating the back of the throat. Your body tries to expel it. You're coughing all the time, okay? Get rid of, I would have that person on digestive enzymes. I would have that person on oil of oregano, probiotic, sniffing if it's sinus, because usually it's a fungus going backwards, okay? Fungal. Thanks for the question, Doris. Nettie. Hi, Nettie. Asking for a friend. If your friend drinks water with apple cider vinegar, ginger, and cayenne pepper, would it thicken your blood? Nope. You're not thickening your blood. Cayenne pepper, as a matter of fact, if anything, would thin your blood. Okay? Would thin your blood. Okay, so that's one question. I like apple cider vinegar. I do. Helps with acidity in the stomach. Ginger. I like ginger. Cayenne pepper, usually anti-inflammatory. Having that drink, a little bit of a drink every day. Water with that. I got no problem with that. It certainly doesn't thicken your blood. Okay, what would cause my legs? Okay, this is your friend Eddie, or is this you? What causes them to be restless, uncomfortable? Well, it ain't the drink. Okay, that's not causing your legs to be restless. Okay, restless legs are usually low iron. People don't know that, but a lot of times they can get restless legs with low iron. And you don't always see it in the numbers, but I've seen it in my office a lot. Okay, I used to see a lot of restless legs. Low magnesium. Okay, that can be a factor with restless legs. The other thing is microcirculation. I found I used to get restless legs, okay? I did. I used to call them the EBGBs of my legs. I'd go to sleep, but my legs didn't go to sleep, okay? I'm talking 30, 35 years ago. I took Navitol, I took pine bark extract, and it fixed them, and I've never had them since. If I sweat too much or whatever, I get a cramping. And I like pickle juice for that, okay? Electrolyte, sodium. But restless legs, I found B12. B12 too. And iron. Borderline sort of low iron levels, and eat more steak, and magnesium possibility, and microcirculation. And the best for microcirculation in the legs is Navitol, pine bark extract, nothing better. Okay? Okay, guys, I think I answered all the questions today, so we won't have Q&A Monday unless you send in questions to me that I didn't answer. I think I got them all. Yeah, okay. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. You can share this on Facebook. If you're not getting our newsletters, how come? Sign up at martinclinic.com. Remember where questions come to. info@martinclinic.com. Guys, love you. Thanks for being such a great audience. Thanks for being so faithful. We appreciate it.